Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello and welcome to the Recipe for the Day podcast with Diana and Paul Peacock. So, what's the only part of a pig you can't eat?
The squeak.
The squeak!
That is such an old joke.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You say it.
They used to say that they could eat all of the pig except for the squeak.
Yes.
And
the tail.
But no, you can eat the tail. Yeah. But the squeaks they sold to Morris for the cars, for Morris Minor cars, for the brakes.
That's going back a bit.
Now this particular show is basically a kind of an evolution, because we started doing this because I needed to have less salt.
That's right.
Basically, and the other reason was that
we like bacon.
We like bacon, and when you go to the supermarket and you buy cheap bacon, because let's face it, like everybody else, money's at a premium.
Yeah.
You end up with
tiny slithers of slices that you can't part.
Yeah, and also you end up with a pan of white stuff.
Yeah, and loads of water. And then also you end up or being so thirsty afterwards.
Bacon that is so salty. I mean, I have to confess, when I was a child, I used to like having bacon that you fried in the pan and it left behind little crusty bits. And I used to eat the crusty bits. No wonder,
I still do.
No, you don't. Not anymore. Not when I cook it. So anyway, believe it or not, and this is the absolute truth because we do it all the time, and there's nothing special about us. It's very, very simple. We make our own bacon. And it's such an easy thing to do that anybody can do it. Even if you think you can't, you can.
I think you think it's going to take up a lot of time and space, and it doesn't, does it?
No, we see that's the problem. We sold bacon with an old-fashioned idea. How do we eat bacon today? You go to the shop, you buy a plastic bag with bacon in it, essentially. And then you take that home and you have your egg and bacon and sausage and tomatoes and mushrooms. Sounds good, that, doesn't it? and then if you've got any bacon left, you might have a bacon sandwich in the morning for your breakfast, and then it's gone. But the idea that used to be was that you slaughtered your pigs, you had loads and loads of pork that wasn't going to last very long, so you turned that into bacon. And you kept it on a hook in a cold room, and it had to last for 3 months or whatever it took. So it's kind of not done like that anymore. It's not like that anymore. So for a start, it's possible to have lower salt bacon because we are freezing it, and we're also making it to eat straight away.
Yeah.
It's possible to get an ordinary cheap pork joint from the supermarket and turn that into bacon. If you want really, really posh looking bacon, you can go to a butcher's and get yourself a nice piece of back to make bacon with.
Loin.
Piece of loin, yeah.
Loin, don't we?
But I use loin from the supermarket because, you know, when you always get, well, you don't always get, but you go to the supermarket and you see a kilo of pork, a roasting joint, £3, £3.50, something like that.
A bit more than that, but
Well, sometimes, but it's not always more than that.
No, it depends. It depends.
And then when you cooked it in the oven and you've taken the strings off it that's holding it together, you find that inside, in the rolled bit, it's all a right mess, really. It's not even, it's not You know, do you know what I mean? It's all...
Yeah.
It's like a picture of the moon,
That's
really.
usually shoulder that they do.
Yeah,
shoulder, isn't it?
That's kind of... You can make bacon from it, yeah, but when you slice it, it's going to be a bit of a...
Especially if you haven't
pain.
got a good slicer.
Yeah, well, we've got it. We happen to have been given a bacon slicer, but you can use a slicing knife, which is basically a long knife that is an inch thick, an inch, in breadth, and you can hold that, and you can get a really good slice of bacon. It's got to be sharp. But so, how do you do it?
Well, we've done it in a couple of ways, haven't we?
There are two ways of doing this, and they're all of them based upon using salt and sugar, and then every other flavour in the world that you want to add. So the one that is the easiest to make is a rub in salt method. Now, you can buy on the internet special curing salt. Doesn't cost much more than ordinary salt, so that's fine. And it has nitrates and nitrites as well as salt in it.
Which some people don't.
In the tiniest amount. And that does two things, basically. One, it keeps your bacon nice and pink. But the other thing is it deals with botulism, which is an important thing. So if you want to make this on a regular basis, then use that kind of salt. But if you want to just have a one-off, then you can use ordinary. Now, I prefer to use sea salt for this, simply because it doesn't have any...
The fine ground.
Yeah, but it doesn't have any caking agents in it, or anti-caking agents, or doesn't have any iodine, things added to it. Yeah. So, basically a bit of sea salt. And the easiest way is 5%. So, let's say you've got a piece of pork, and it weighs a kilo. What you need is 5% of that weight as salt. So that is 50 grams of salt. That's 10 level teaspoons of salt. Sounds like a lot of salt, but most of it is going to end up going down the sink. You can then add as much sugar to that as you like. I usually add about half.
Of brown sugar usually is.
Brown sugar, but you can use white sugar, but you can use any kind of sugar you like, really. You can even add other stuff to it, like molasses and honey and all sorts of things. And what you do is you open up your joint, and then every surface of the meat, you rub your mixture in. Your mixture's got to be shaken up together. So you got your pure salt and sugar. You could add mustard powder to it. You could add black pepper to it. You could add white pepper to it. You could add cloves to it. Any number of different flavours you can add to it if you want to.
But try it with salt and sugar
first.
To begin with.
Having rubbed it into every single nook and cranny, if you've got any left, to sprinkle it all over it.
On your fat as well?
Not on the fat. No. Not on the skin, not on the fat, because it simply doesn't do anything there. And you leave that in the fridge in a bowl for 5 days. Put a cover on it.
Covered well. We wrap it in cling film.
Cling film, or I tend to have a little Tupperware lidded box that I use. I've cleaned that box before I use it as well. So then 6 days later, perhaps 7 days later, you can slice a little bit off and see what it tastes like.
Do you rinse it first?
Rinse it under the tap.
The whole thing?
The whole thing, yeah. Now what you'll see is, if you look at it during the course of the week, you'll see that the liquid has come out of the meat, and then it forms a kind of a pool of very salty liquid. So that is basically where your salt goes. In fact, once you've rinsed it, and I tend to slice it into two pieces, and then make a slice of the inner surface. So then you know where the salt has got to in the middle of the meat. Cook that, see what it tastes like, if it's right for you. If it's not, then rub a bit of salt on it, stick it back in the fridge. Get rid of your liquid. Get rid of your liquid that's in the bowl. Rub a bit more salt on it, then leave it for another couple of days. So that's one way of doing it.
What about the way where we started out, where you just make the slices?
Well, this is even easier.
It is, isn't it? This is one we've done at Denman.
Yeah. This is Denman College, by the way, listeners, is the Women's Institute, Cookery School and college.
It does art,
all sorts. They do art, and they do dancing, and they do
music.
They do all old ladies sing ABBA.
They do. Well, we've done quite a lot of our food preparation courses there.
And
we stopped last year because it was just getting a little bit too much for us both.
Now this method actually had the ladies at Denman saying,
"You can't be done. Can't be done."
A, it can't be done, and B, when they ate it the day after, because this is 24-hour bacon, they said that is bacon as it used to be, and you can't get any better than that, really. And this is dead simple. You can go to the supermarket and get yourself a piece of pork loin. You need to know what the weight of it is, because that's an important part. And then, if you don't want to do that, you can go to the butcher's. We'll come back to him in a minute. But what you need to do is, first of all, slice your pork into rashers.
Yeah, as thick as you want.
As thick or as thin as you like. It's up to you. Now, if you can't slice it, you can go to a butcher's and buy a piece of pork and say, will you slice that for me as though it's bacon? And they'll say, why, what are you doing with that? And you'll say, I'm making bacon. And he'll say, well, why don't you bloody well buy my bacon
well, that's
then?
what our butcher said. But you don't have to tell him, you just say...
No, just say I want it slicing. Can you slice it on your machine for me? Now, let's pretend you've got a kilo of bacon. All these recipes will be on the sheets, don't worry. The show notes, not the sheets. I'm not giving out sheets this week.
That's WI for you.
But then, if you lay all those rashers out on a tray, and you might need 2 trays. If you've got a kilo of bacon, you need 1% cure. That is literally 1%, not 5%, okay? And what you need, so therefore, a kilo, 1% is 10 grams of salt. And you can use any kind of salt for this. And I've tended to use a little bit more sugar on this particular cure. So I've got 10 grams of salt per kilo and 15 grams of sugar per kilo. And you put it in a little ramekin and you shake it together so it's all nicely mixed. And again, you can add any flavours you like. Mustard, cloves,
as we've said before,
peppercorns, almost.
But just if you try it for the first time,
curry powder,
try it. Just sugar and salt.
Sugar and salt is the best, so, really.
It's 5 grams of salt.
No. It's 10 grams of salt.
10 grams of salt. You see.
15 grams of sugar.
Yeah, 10.
And then what you do is you sprinkle that an equal amount on every rasher, all over the rashers, so that every area of that rasher, just on one side, is coated. Now, if you run out of cure, make yourself a little bit more. Doesn't matter. It's not going to make that much difference. If you have 1.5% salt bacon, more fair enough.
It depends how thin or thick your bacon's been sliced, how many rashers you have.
How many rashers you've got. So, when you've done that, you sprinkle your salt and your sugar over your bacon, pile it up. So you're making a big pile now of bacon.
But you can make a couple of piles. You don't have to make one big pile.
Yeah. You can make a couple of piles.
Yeah.
I tend to get away with one pile, basically.
And so, the rasher that's on the bottom, do you have to do both sides of that one?
The rasher that's on the bottom, you can do.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't bother. No, because what happens next is part of that. So you've got all your rashers piled up, and then you wrap it firmly in cling film, put it in a bowl, stick it in the fridge, leave it for 24 hours. The liquid will come out of the bacon rashers, and then you will have ready-made bacon that's taken 24 hours to do. And believe me, it really, really works.
It's delicious.
It really is delicious. You're not going to kill yourself. Now, the way that we eat bacon, when I say you're not going to kill yourself, what I mean to say is it's perfectly safe. You're going to be eating this bacon within a week. You could keep pork in your fridge for a week, and it wouldn't be a problem. So this isn't a difficult bacon to make. It's not as though you're going to be keeping it for 6 months. But it's easy. It's not difficult. And the biggest amount of pride you can get in the kitchen, I think, is when you've made your own stuff.
Yeah. And people don't believe you when you tell them that you can do it literally overnight.
Yeah, they think you're a nutter.
24. I mean, we've actually made it in the afternoon and eaten it the following morning, so it hasn't been quite 24 hours.
Yeah, and I don't think it was quite
tastes
ready
better.
that. But if you can leave it for 24 hours, then it's the best flavour. Now, I suppose you could say it's not bacon. It's just pork with salt on it.
Well, it looks and tastes like
bacon. But it looks like bacon. It tastes like bacon. It cooks like bacon. And in fact, it cooks better than any of the bacon you get in the supermarket.
And I must say that I love your home-cured, dry-cured bacon that you make, and your wet-cured bacon. Yeah. But my favourite will always be that, because it has that sweetness as well, you see.
There's a little bit of extra sugar in there.
You can feel, and I'm sorry, I do like sweet things. But that sweetness of when it's...
You little sweetie!
When it's fried, and you can fry that with no worries about all the moisture coming out.
Yeah, it just stays
and it doesn't
there.
shrink.
It sits there and says, "Go on, turn it up, turn the gas up."
It's gorgeous, and it really... but the thing is with bacon, and I think it goes for any bacon, is to cook it slowly.
Yeah.
Don't put it on a high heat to begin with. Put it on a lowish heat and let it cook slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a winner.
It is.
And why we don't do more of it. And the other thing that I think I get a little bit upset. There's on the internet, on Facebook, there are groups of people who do things like feed themselves for as little money as they can because they can't afford to.
Yeah.
They have to do this. So you often get people saying, "I've been to Aldi and I've bought their cooking bacon and it costs me 89 pence for 500 tonnes of cooking bacon." Mm-hmm. And it's not nice bacon particularly. No. And also the bacon that you could buy...
Well, we've done that. I mean, we've had to do that. You know, you do.
But you can do it yourself.
You can.
It's easy and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And it's better for you because this is low salt bacon. Yeah. If you want it a bit saltier, put a bit more salt in.
Yeah. So that's two ways of curing.
That's two ways. There are
There's
more
the wet
ways.
Cure as
but
well.
we haven't got all day.
No. But if you have a go at the 24-hour one first, I think.
I just buy a small piece of pork.
You only need a tray or a bowl to store it in to cure it.
Yeah, just buy a small piece of... If you get 500 grams of pork loin from the supermarket, it's not going to be that expensive.
No.
It might be a couple of quid.
Yeah. And that would be 5 grams, wouldn't it? Of salt
if you've
to
got
500 grams.
500, so it's
I see.
It's 1 gram per 100 grams. In other words, 1%.
And then about 8 grams of sugar.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, a bit more than 15 grams, but 16 grams then,
16,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if you've made your own, why not?
Or not, or even if you've not made your own.
Yeah, you can make lentil and bacon soup.
Yeah.
And I always find lentil and bacon soup goes down a treat, whether it's summer, winter, autumn, spring, any time of the year. But it's just one of those, I think it's probably a bar potato and leek is my favourite soup.
Lentils always go down a treat.
They're gorgeous. I love them. And all you need to do is you need to fry an onion with a couple of rashers of your bacon and a clove of garlic chopped up. But do it into a lidded saucepan. So I tend to put a mixture of about 10 grams of butter and a tablespoon of oil.
Okay. Butter for flavour, oil for cooking.
And then cook it till your rashers are cooked and your onion's just soft. And then add 2 peeled and chopped carrots. Make sure your carrots are chopped quite finely. Add that and 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. Work quite quickly with the carrots and the tomato puree so that the flavour of the tomato puree is going in your ingredients that are in your pan. And then add 500 ml of passata. You know, the cartons of passata. Yep. Some people say, well, tomato juice is just as good and cheaper. Well, it's if you want to use that. That's what I've heard. Juice? Apparently, I don't know. I never buy it. I always buy passata. But passata's quite reasonably priced. You can buy expensive and you can buy cheaper stuff.
Have you given up on Bloody Marys?
I've never liked Bloody Marys.
She was a bit annoying, wasn't she?
Yeah. And then 600 ml of chicken stock, water, veg stock, whatever you've got. And then you pour that over and then stir it well and bring it to the boil. And as it starts to boil, Stir in 150 grams of red lentils and some salt and pepper to taste. Now, I like black pepper in this. I love white pepper very much. But I think the black pepper with the lentils and the tomatoes really adds something to it. So you've added 150 grams of red lentils, a little bit more if you wish, and a bit more water if you want, up to about 800 mils of stock.
Liquid, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because lentils do take up a lot of
and
moisture.
also tomatoes need salt, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They do
yeah.
need salt.
And if you wish, no, not if you wish. I was going to say that I like a very thick soup.
Right.
So that's why I put 600 mils in. But if you like it a bit more, soupy, then add another 800
Is that
mils.
supine?
Yeah. And then just as it's simmering, let it simmer for about 40 minutes. Doesn't matter if it's a bit more. Watch it and put a lid on it while it simmers. Keep watching it because your lentils might start to stick. And then 5 minutes before end of cooking time, put in 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. If you haven't got fresh, you've got dried, put a couple of teaspoons in while it's cooking. But the reason I like it near the end of the cooking time, fresh parsley, is it stays green.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see the greenery
In
in
the
it.
red,
Yeah, and it goes so well. If you like a bit of oregano in it as well, because it's tomatoes and oregano, put a little bit of that in, or a bit of thyme if you wish. But parsley is the one for me. And the other ones I like making me bacon into are bacon pasta, which is one that I think we've had since the children were very little. And again, it was a good sort of cheapish meal really for us, because it makes a little bit of bacon go a long way. You only need 4 of your rashers of bacon chopped up finely for this. And I fry that with a little bit of oil and 2 to 3 chopped garlic cloves. And let that fry slowly, not too quickly. And then have a pint of milk ready, whisked in a good tablespoon of corn flour, and a rounded tablespoon, not a level tablespoon, because you want this nice and thick. A bit of salt and black pepper as well. You can add a bit of English mustard if you wish. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't bother. But it does add a little bit of savouriness to it. And then when the bacon's ready and it's soft, pour over your milk mixture and then bring that slowly to the boil, stirring as necessary. And then you need to stir in 250 grams of grated cheddar cheese, or basically whatever cheese you've got, but not blue cheese. Blue cheese would be too salty for this.
Also has a kind of a bitter flavour.
It does, yeah. But I stick to cheddar. Red Leicester, that's another good one.
A melted
double
sort
Gloucester,
of cheese,
yeah. And then sprinkle it in, and then just stir that, and then just leave it till you've cooked your pasta, and then pour your sauce over. And that is so quick to do. I love bacon pasta. It's one of my favourite dinners. And you can vary that. You can cook your pasta, pour your bacon mixture all over, sprinkle a bit more cheese on the top, and bung it in the oven, and that's a different dish altogether. Yeah. And if you add some breadcrumbs to your cheese that you sprinkle on the top, you'll get a nice crispy coating. Yeah. And when you put it in the oven, put it up quite high, about 200, gas mark 6, 400.
Oh, yeah, it's 400.
I have to think, but I get there in the end. For about 25 minutes at the most. Once your top's bubbled and browned, you'll get away with about 20 minutes. So, bacon pasta and lentil and bacon soup.
Not so much salt in that, because it's the bacon salty.
I don't put any salt in that. Your bacon's salty, your cheese is salty.
Well, yeah, but the lentil and bacon soup might have needed a little bit of salt.
Oh, yeah, but I did say put a bit in.
You did, yeah, you did.
I put it into the milk mixture.
I am not causing you a liar.
No. I do say put a pinch in, but don't put too much in, because cheese and bacon. You don't even, as I say, you don't have to if you don't wish. And the other one to make is another easy, reasonably priced. Again, cheese, and it's another theme on cheese and bacon, is bacon.
You just reminded me of something. It's okay.
You had a funny look.
I did. I just gone into a reverie. I'll come back to that in a minute.
It's cheesy bacon bake, really, this one. But it has. You'll need a leek for this one as well. Yeah. So chop an onion and a leek finely. Yeah. And start frying them, and don't chop your bacon, because you're putting this on the top this time. So you've got that cooking slowly in the pan. Then you need to boil 4 medium-sized potatoes that have been peeled and cut into 3 centimetre chunks. Bring them to the boil until they're just soft. Then drain them and pop them into a roasting tin or an oven-proof dish, quite a biggish one, that's well buttered.
Yeah.
Because that adds to the flavour. And put over your onion and your leek mixture. Stir the potato and your leek and onion mixture together. And then sprinkle over to about 200 to 250 grams of grated cheddar or cheese of your favourite cheese.
Requirement, yes.
Yeah, and then put about 6 to 8 rashers of your bacon on the top. And then you need to bake that in the oven at 190 degrees, gas mark 5, 375 Fahrenheit, for about, till your bacon's cooked, so it's about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. And you'll find that your cheese has gone all nice and bubbly and crispy around the edge. And it goes deliciously with a green veg of any kind.
Of any kind. Cabbage.
Don't go very well with carrots.
No.
But it goes with cabbage, it goes with sprouts, it goes with...
Broccoli.
Yeah. It's delicious. Peas, beans.
Now, you sent me into a reverie.
I did, didn't I? Wow.
Because you mentioned that word. And when I was a little boy, you can't get it the same now.
Oh, cheese and bacon.
You used to be able to buy a thing. It was a kind of a cheddar called cooking cheese.
Yeah, it was a cheddar.
Yeah.
Do you know what all it was? It was very strong.
It was
cheddar.
But it was cheap cheddar.
Yeah, but it was very strong.
Yeah, very strong.
My mum loved that on cheese on toast.
Well, I used to be sent to Charlie Berry's shop. If anybody lives in Clayton, in Manchester, then you'll know. I mean, perhaps you won't, I don't know. But Charlie Berry had a shop. Sounds like the beginning
cheese,
to
obviously.
Sounds like the beginning of a novel, doesn't it?
Yeah, you see, we used to get ours off Newton Heath
Market. Yeah. So Charlie Berry had a shop, and I was sent at least once or twice a week to buy cooking bacon. And the best thing in the world ever, you can't beat it. Any of the recipes that we ever write about or talk about are nothing compared to this.
In your view?
No. In reality, is this very, very simple recipe. What you need is a aluminium or tin, what we used to call a tin plate, an enamelled tin plate as big as you can.
Not aluminium.
No.
No, you mean enamel.
Yeah, and
basically a grill-proof tray. Could be stainless steel.
No, a tin plate.
My mum used to have a stainless steel one.
Anyway, you cook your bacon in the frying pan, and you put it on your plate. And then you cover that in cheese, as much as you like. And then you pour on top of that probably half a cup, perhaps a bit less than half a cup of milk.
Yeah, as much as you want.
Not
too much, because it makes a cheese sauce, doesn't it?
Oh, you put it under the grill, and the cheese melts, and all the flavours go into the milk. Then you get yourself some gorgeous bread, and you spend the next 10 minutes dunking it in your gorgeous mixture. It is the most wonderful thing in the world.
And do you know, it was one of my coming home for dinner when I was at primary school lunches. That
cheese and bacon is probably the food that turns worker bees into queen bees.
Bees don't eat bacon.
But we do, and that's enough for me.
Thank you for listening. You will find this recipe in the programme notes and very shortly on www.kitchennewbie.com.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.